wearing Americans are going to come back at us, you can be assured. As the rain falls again off the gazebo. Twice that's got me this morning. This time I managed to dodge it.
Yeah, I'm going to try and dodge that all day. I made the very silly mistake of wearing a gilet rather than an actual coat. And yeah, if I get these sleeves wet, it's going to be a long day for me.
They are cheaper though, aren't they?
Yeah, considerably so. Silly thing is I looked at both the coat and the gilet this morning and went, yeah, gilet it is.
Yeah, there was that guy that didn't take his knife and 27 hours later he was cutting his arm off. So, you know, you've got to be careful, make the right decisions that England are doing here as they move forward. But now they start thinking about the play, dropping off a little bit and just trying to pull out the American defence. And there's the slide you were talking about.
Yeah, he's unlucky not to get the score, actually. Thought the ball was down, but offside given. And at the moment, England, despite the weather conditions, are able to play around the USA defence relatively easily.
Interesting decision that they've gone back for a penalty against the USA rather than us getting the score. Sorry, England. And there's another slide in.
Yeah, we are definitely impartial.
And that one is given.
Yeah, so in this instance, the touching player has never hit the line, so he's always offside. Whereas on the what we saw before, when the touch was given, even though he was offside, is the feet had hit the line, but it was marginal. So there you can see that link never hit the line. Dive underneath, Tom Pennicard enjoying his work, and I've got a feeling we're going to see a lot more of those dives throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it earlier. You called it earlier, so obviously you're the man in the know, and makes good fun, doesn't it? I mean, like. It'd be nice to see them doing that and then looking at the camera. That's where I like it.
Yeah,
you know, oh, nice long ball to the corner, and has he got it in?
I think touch has been given.
Yeah, touch has been given, but that's nice play there. They took that wide ball. You're saying it's a sign of England's game normally, but the USA trying the long ball, but just slipping, but the touch came in there. But possession turned over, and at speed, the man with the bucket hat moves on. He knows how to make a mark on the game.
Oh, the pace of this transition is just electric. They'll have one touch now to scoop. Sam Missing will scoop. Looks right, goes left, goes through the gap. Can he find the spare man? Yes, he can. And that is all too easy for England.
Class, though. Absolute class.
Yeah, it's just pace and direction. We were talking about it yesterday. When your transition is as slick as England's have been, it's just too easy to find the gap. Little pump of the ball sends his shadowing defender, and then he finds the spare man on the wing. And I've always said, if you're a winger on these England sides, you've got to love your day, because you spend, you know, the vast majority of it just catching and dotting the ball down in the corner.
It's a hard life. You know, some of us got to do it though.
Yeah, must be nice. Must be nice.
But you do have to catch it. I mean, that's the main thing.
Oh, I've seen people drop him. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I've seen people drop him.
But I say that in a lot of sport. Just catch the ball. Just catch it. If you can do the basics like catching it, the rest does come a little bit easier.
Yeah, and me and Angus were discussing, especially with that boys 18s team that we saw yesterday, just doing the basics well rewards you so highly.
Yep.
And it's those teams that really fixate on the basics, getting them as crisp as possible, that find their success, and you find the extra yards of space. And yeah, this England side, early doors, 6 minutes in, 3 tries to the good. It is an exhibition of what doing the basics to the highest level can do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking at a further goalie and another field here, as I used to be. Just catch the ball, you know.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, that's a nice play. Just dummy, but comes back and they set again, and they'll go. Just pulling the USA out, and you can see the little doglegs in the USA defence there as they come out, and knock on turnover. No, he's given the touch.
Yeah, or they might get an offside call. Yeah, thought so. Middle's just not hitting the line. It's Theo Edwards running the ball at pace. England are running a little bit of a disguised sweeper play where they don't really exaggerate the motion, just everyone knows what they need to do. Sweeper coming again now. Yeah, clear communication from the referee. Didn't make the line. Score given, and at the moment the pace of England just proving too much for the USA.
Yeah, really is. I mean, it's just so sharp on the ball and everything else. And I mean, as I say, USA creating dog legs because they're keen. and that just opens up the gaps.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where, you know, individuals want to get up and encroach that space, shut England down, but you've got to move as a team rather than as individuals. You know, you can see England here, one up, and then everyone else supporting around him, and that allows everyone to hit the line with good time and then get off to make touches.
Yeah, USA come back, and referee, no, not given.
Yeah, penalty for dropping early there. If you're in the 7 metre, you've got to advance at a rate that the referee deems acceptable. If you are just stuttering and, you know, taking really tiny steps and, you know, really drawing out that advancing process, referees are well within their right to call the penalty.
And so he did. Referees very much on the ball, and USA go wide again, but that, I believe, was touch. Just looking through the American subs bench here into the corner. The USA go again.
Oh, lovely.
Nice, but did he drop it?
No, I think he'll give score given.
Yeah. So they're off the mark.
It's a really good variation, actually. We've seen them run some quickies that resulted in long balls, but instead goes left, steps back, finds the man in space. Ball is the down just before the touch gets made, and you know, USA starting to find some joy against the England defence. Milk to penalty. Got the score. Now England need to reply.
They certainly do. And I think that's a touch. Yeah.
Sweeper coming round, but USA just potentially dropping a little bit early. They look for the tap back on the inside. Just goes to ground, although the referee might say, the referee says 6 more. So if that ball must have been touched in flight and knocked to ground, and if that's the case, then the attacking side do get a repeat set of 6. Another sweeper.
He goes in and low, and the referee says, try.
Yeah, superb, and it's just, you know, it's the speed, it's little things like speed of turnover, getting the ball down and then off the ground really quickly, balls down and then up within half a second, so the defence don't have a moment to get back on side. And if the defender's running backwards and the attacker's running forwards, there's only one winner.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Saying that the lads coming off, they're giving a good little pant here, and you can tell that they're really feeling it. It looks leisurely when you're watching it, you know, and you don't realise the pace these guys are going. And if you're going backwards or forwards, at pace, you're going to feel it. And the substitutions, the rolling subs continually, it's like changes of 5 or 6 all at the same time. Yeah. You know, keep everybody fresh.
Yeah, definitely. I always say, if you think touch is an esports play, you've never played it. I would challenge anyone, any code of rugby, any sport, come and play 6 games of touch in a day, and then you're qualified to talk about how easy it is.
Exactly. You walk a day in my shoes. Exactly. Now you're sounding all political. Interception there, and off we go. England 6 from their own try line.
Oh, lovely meters made early. That might be given as a loss of control. It is. The touch was a little bit tasty. Really does. I don't think the English player, although they've rolled the ball off the mark, and the referees are in no mind to let anyone get away with the small errors this morning.
I was going to say, it's cold, it's wet, it's early, rain's coming down, and you're being penalised for rolling the ball off the mark. I'd be asking the referee to slow the game down, so I could discuss that with him, I think. Yeah,
the referee's got no mind to do it.
Quite right too.
Sweeper on the link, doggies play. Tries to execute the 2-on-1 and does. Lovely play.
Sam Clacker giving all the instructions there, what he wants, and he's on the end there, and just with their hands there, straight out to Anthony Hampton-Wise, and he delivers the finishing product for him.
Yeah, it's just they've identified that the space is out there, and we've seen a couple plays now on the link that have resulted in some tries. And at the moment, the USA, the defensive spacing is just too wide, and they can't rely on their speed to cover all that space when the ball moves faster than you. Big shot from Ant Wise in the corner.
Yeah, so it was, how'd you say, a tasty touch?
Yeah. Yeah, Ant's a Chester lad. I played with him in the men's elite NTS, and just, you know, absolutely rapid feet, so good and very mature for his age.
Coming on at pace so much. I mean, this is such a good, like you say, basics. But I mean, in any, I remember come on at pace.
Yeah.
And all they do is come on at pace, and a nice wide ball out there. And there's another try.
Little thumbs up as well, appreciating the work done in the middle. And yeah, to complement exactly what you were saying, it is just pace. You know, if you're driving up the same channel so fast, you know, it is the most effective way to get from point A to point B. And then when you get to point B, you've created so much separation because the defense are still rolling, that someone like Sam Missia can just pick the ball up and leisurely throw it long.
And Will Hoffman will catch those all day and give you the extras.
Yeah, 100%. And it's something I always say. So, you know, we do joke and say you'd love to be an England winger because you could just stand on the end and, you know, catch it and dot it down. But
that's what they're doing.
Wingers is probably the most specialised position on the touch pitch because you've got such a unique job. You know, middles and links, you've all got to go and make touches, you've all got to dump clean, you've all got to be able to ball handle, platform, and then strike. But wingers, defensive spacing is so important. You've got to get your reads right. You are quite often the last line of defence when the opposition are attacking. So for the England wingers to be as productive as they are, I think it's a testament to their ability and also the level of coaching that's gone on. When we saw it yesterday with England, the quality was just insane. If you'd told me that yesterday was a men's open side, I would have absolutely believed you. And this men's 20s looks such a well-drilled side.
They certainly do. And there's me just going to say, yeah, they just stand on the end and catch it. But great description for the wingers.
Yeah, I've got to big them up because they do sometimes get forgotten about.
Yeah, so you sound like me when I go on about the goalies. You know, the ones with the special responsibility, the only ones that get their own area, the only ones that can wear different kit, the only ones that can handle the ball, the most responsible guys on there. And now we're putting the wingers in the same category.
100%. They are so, you know, not underrated because everyone loves a good winger, but just underappreciated, I would say.
Well, we are give them love and appreciation today, Jake.
Yeah, 100%.
We will be the new fan club of the wingers, the Wingers Fan Club. The
like
WFC. A loose ball there, and I think that was the 6th, and that was the problem. That had to try and make something happen there.
Yeah, at the moment the USA just not stretching England enough, so England are able to move across as a unit of 6 and close out any space that's immediately in front of the US. You know, if I was the US, I'd be looking to take a dump, maybe condition the link to stay wide, you know, maybe run a couple link punishes, try and create separation between the 2 USA middles, and then you can inject some pace. Because at the moment, if you're trying to inject pace against a set line of 6, you've got everything to do.
Yeah, they are. They're like you say, take it up, push them back, give yourself some space, and England are doing that exceptionally well. They kind of know what every other move is, and that skid along the ground there, that wasn't going to work that time, that slide from Joe Thompson.
Yeah, just so fast, just gets underneath the player. And again, it's just this race to the line, touching players up, profile is a little bit wobbly on the exit, has to turn back out to face Joe. And that race is, you know, it's only got one winner.
Here we go again. It's great around here this morning. There's touch rugby going on everywhere. There's 7 pitches. We've moved the show pitch, and so if you are coming down here and looking for pitch 2, that's now on pitch 7. And if you're coming down here looking for the show pitch, that's us here now on pitch 2. And it's just people everywhere, just playing touch rugby, and it's absolutely brilliant. And the atmosphere already, I mean, it's only 8:50. You know, breakfast has only just gone down, and there's already a buzz about the place.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, touch players, because it is a growing sport, it is an emerging sport, and it's one of those sports where you do get hooked by it because it, you know, you realise that there's so many nuances to it. You've got to be fit. The tactics are so important. You know, everyone's got a role, and you know, there's a role for everyone, and I think that's the most important thing. And the passion shown by not only the players, the supporters as well. I'll do it all weekend. I've got to big up the French supporters because there's about 100 of them rolling around and it's just a big mob. I just absolutely love it, screaming "Allez le bleu" whenever France are on and playing. And you know, we've got teams from all over the globe, and the fact that every single team here has got support, I just think it's mental.
It's absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And big shout out to the Blues as well. Have you seen that? The ad for the women's Blues football team. Absolutely amazing. Really, really brings everything up. And so big shout out to the French at the moment.
100%.
That is a class advert. Look that up if you want. Le Bleus.
Yeah, please do actually, because it's.
We won't tell you the end.
It's one of the better ones.
It is just such class about women's football. But let's get back to England touch.
Yeah.
While talking about the French. And again, look, just. It's just like knife through butter sometimes. It's really great stuff.
Yeah, it's just Tom Pennicott picking up and making good options again. You know, I think a lot of these, it's got to be said, a lot of these players that are on the field right now for England are playing at the highest level of touch that, club touch that England has to offer. So the experience of playing men's open week in, week out just allows you to have the composure in these moments. And you see Tom Pennicott, one dummy, then fixes the defender as soon as those hips have turned, gives the pass in acres of space. And it's just that level of composure and knowledge of the game that is elevating England too far above the USA right now.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a gulf in difference, or the USA don't like early mornings. We haven't made our mind up yet.
Yeah, and you know, over the past, yesterday we saw first game of the day. It took everyone half to really get going and get warm and start to be able to run the touch that they could run. But England seem to have been warming up for an hour early doors because they don't look fatigued, they don't look tired, they don't look lazy. They're direct, they're powerful, and if I'm perfectly honest, probably still have another couple of gears to go through.
Frightening. Now, explain one thing for people watching in. It's a bit similar to ice hockey. Substitution-wise, they seem to come on in fours. It's like saying that. There's the hooter.
Yeah, we've got half time to talk about it.
Yeah, no, we will do. We will do. So, I want to say, at the end of every, what seems to be tried, but there's so many of them, they come on as units, right? And so they train and play as units, and they kind of know that, right, one off, everything else. Like the line in hockey, in ice hockey, you know what's coming off, and everybody's off and on, and it's big changes. And that's the same type of pattern here?
Yeah, 100%. So what is typically the case, although not strictly the case with every touch team, obviously there's a lot of leniency in it, is you do normally have in the men's game 3 pods of 4. So you'll have typically your strike player, your dangerous player, your fast player, that person who can just unlock a defence, and then you'll have a workhorse, someone who's got legs for days, that when you're in your defensive transition and the opposition are subbing, is able to fly up and make touches. And typically then past that, you've got runners, people who are fast, and the key thing with the players of the pod of 4 is each player understands each other's roles. As my breakfast gets delivered by my amazing mum. Thank you very much.
Well, I was just going to say, what service, and your mum, didn't I say last things about mums?
Yeah.
Looked at me and says, there's one for you.
Yeah, what a legend.
Well, what a complete legend, and she says, love you,
Cheers,
and I
mate.
think that's towards you, not me, but anyway.
Hey, you never know, mate.
Hey, yeah. Right, so you were saying, groups, units of 4, and they play, and so they're on and off. And you're still keeping the wingers still seem to be staying in there because we know they're the special guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you play in these, if you're interested in touch coming in there, it's a whole group thing. Like you say, there's a space for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, even somebody slower like myself may find themselves on a touch pitch.
Mate, honestly, there's divisions, there's categories, there's age groups, there's different levels as well. That is applicable for absolutely everyone. Like you get people, for lack of a better word, going into their twilight years, coming down and playing touch, especially like the DTS level, where it is just an enjoyment thing. And if you think about the 3 different positions you've got on the touch pitch as well, you've got your middles, your links, and your wings. There is something there for everyone, especially if you want to go down to your local club and play touch. Every club will welcome you with open arms. I know I've been to 3 or 4 clubs now just to play socially, and every single time it's like, oh, you need to play touch rugby. Yeah, come on, just hop in. No one's fussed about your background, who you are, whatever you would.
Your criminal record
do.
wasn't a problem.
Yeah, for me, yeah, it's lucky for me, eh?
But what it is that, like, you know, it's all engaging, and you don't feel as if, like, you know, like, oh, well, you know, there's some big lads down there, everything else. It's just about pace, it's turn of hand, it's kind of like, you know, playing in the unit, and seeing a well-drilled England team like that know their job, know their roles, everything else. You can see how that camaraderie would grow and how you build into it.
100%, absolutely. And, you know, especially you're going back to what we were saying about the pods of 4, when you've got, you know, your 2 middles, your 2 links. These are people that will understand each other so well, and it's those interpersonal relationships that make pods work as well as they can. Like, I know, especially when I play for my club, I play with, you know, 2 of my very good mates, and that just, I mean, we know where each other are because we have those understandings. And touch is one of those very rare games, but that no matter your level, no matter your ability, no matter your skill set, there's roles and responsibilities for you that will complement the things that you do really well. And I think that's one of the key things about the sport that highlights how, you know, inclusive it is, how accepting it is there is something here for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely, there really is. And it's good. It's a referees working a group of 3. They haven't stopped running.
Yep.
I mean, like, it's pretty non-stop for them the whole time as well. It's really good. And I mean, 40 minutes at this pace, you know, you've been in the game.
Oh, 100%. And there's a reason why teams, you know, in this caliber of competition typically only play 2, maybe a maximum of 3 games a day, because it is so taxing on the body, especially when the ground's becoming a bit dewy. It starts to stick to feet. It becomes clay-like, and, you know, it's clad into the bottom of your boots, and it is a really tough one to play. There's a different type of fitness required than any other sport, because it's all out for a couple minutes, and then you've got to be able to recover so fast to be able to go back out and do exactly that again.
Not like sevens where you just do it for 7 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
sevens is like that.
This
burnout.
is real fitness.
Yeah, sevens is a burnout for
That's
7 minutes.
Sevens fitness, sevens fans out there, just a little, like, you know, called out to you.
Yeah, well, I actually know a lot of sevens players who started playing touch, and I was privileged enough to play with a couple, well, what are now pro rugby players who started their journey pretty much playing touch, and it shows you this is a game to build those core skills, and then you can take it and do what you want with them.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be able to pass, you've got to be able to catch, and you've got to be able to move onto the ball at pace. It is such a good grounding for, you know, well, other sports, and England off to a. Is he? No.
Oh, forward pass.
Forward pass.
Unfortunate. It was a really lovely setup. They run the doggies 2-step, so the sweeper on the link, and then the half picks up, dummies the sweeping player, steps back against the grain. Unfortunately, that final pass just drifting forward. And, you know, USA let off early doors.
You see the USA here already loading up on the wings here, and deciding that they will run it up and try it, and they're still going strong here. But there's no real shape to that. They're just coming round off the runner all the time at the moment. No real support on there apart from those 2 players. They're just trying to keep it wide all the time.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to hold the width, but in these conditions it might not be the best idea. And to be perfectly honest, that the transition, so getting your tired legs off and then getting your fresh legs on, was very good from the US until that final touch, where they checked off in the middle and lost all of their momentum, and it allowed the England defence to keep rolling, hit the onside line easier, and then was able to get back up and encroach the space for the scooping player. So if I was the USA there, I'd be saying, don't worry about checking it off, don't worry about if we've got a scoop from 30 out, as long as we get that scooper running fast, because some of these US boys have got real speed, they will be able to find some success.
Absolutely, and here they are making holes, but unlike England, they're not gaining those yards enough to make that be close enough to the try line on the last play.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, you see England, they're so efficient in their work. They take as little touches as possible on this on their sub transition, so they allow the attacking phase of their transition as many touches as they can at the line. And at the moment, the US just, you know,
so take 3 touches, and you know, they've gone 15 yards.
Yeah, exactly. So now they'll have 2 attempts. goes to dive for the line, looks good. Referee might be happy.
No.
Yeah, he's all good.
Oh, he is good now. That signal looked like a definite no.
Yeah, that like no-ish wave of the arms is to tell the defence, no, you've not done your job. It's telling the defender that he's never hit the line, and yeah, that right foot just hovers off that line continually. Touch from the link doesn't come in fast enough, and the USA get the reward.
9-2. Is this a comeback?
I would love it if it was. That would be a spectacle to start us off.
Yeah, a spectacle rather than us being biased at the beginning that we were saying, yeah.
Yeah, we'll bring back some of the USA audience.
I'm sure they're on board listening, absolutely loving the coverage here and appreciating the lovely Nottingham weather.
Sam missing, stop it. Oh, it's a shame that it's not been given because that's a picture perfect dive.
Here we are, the Nottingham University, right in the middle of England, the heart of England. I think Ashby de la Zouch, which is quite close to here, was the centre of the UK, and it's the furthest point from any water, being an island as we are. So right in the heart of England, countries literally from all over the world have come forward with this Atlantic Youth Touch Cup, and it's turning out to be, just on the first game, a spectacle of touch rugby, and we got so much more to bring you today. Remember, we rolled all the way through till 7 o'clock. Yes, I did say that, 7 o'clock. That's a 13-hour shift. Woo! You are going to be loving our voices by the end of that 13 hours.
Well, people have already had 2 days of mine, and I'm back here again tomorrow, so people have like, 4 days of my voice, so.
Well, your mum loves it and says that she likes to hear from you more, so I'm sure it'll be the case. And that's
always a supporter.
And the call there, you see the fist pumping call.
Yeah, 6 more. So that ball was touched in flight. Defender's always offside. Referee calls play on, and Tom Pennicott says, "Thank you very much, pal. I will run straight through that hole." And yeah, that's the reward you get. So yeah, you can see them shaking their fist in the air, saying, "Look, that's 6 more. He's touched that in flight." That was the case. And then rather than looking to take the dump, Tom Pennicott just reacts faster than everyone else. Here's the call from the referee of offside. Puts the burners on and gets to the line.
That's just knowing the nuances of the game, knowing, you know, that you can pull that guy out and you're going to get the decision.
Oh, 100%. And it's something that goes, that pass just drifts forward. It's a shame because it looked...
They did it. They're discussing, they're chatting it.
So it's a hard one because it actually looks flat out the hands. Yeah, they're going to give it because it, for me, that was flat out the hands and the spin has just sent it forward. We'll have a look here. It's a good right foot step, and yeah, it's that wobbly spin, that sort of end over end pass.
Are you in sales?
Drifts it all the way forward.
That was forward.
Yeah, but in touch. So the ruling is it's not about where the ball lands.
No, yeah.
It's whether it's flat or backwards out of the hand.
And the intention.
Yeah, and for me that was verging on flat out the hand, and then at that point when it is that ambiguous out the hand, it's just on whatever the referee deems is okay, and referees are happy with that.
Well, I've got some stuff on eBay I need to sell. I just wondered if you could do me a little, if you could talk to some of the customers for me, because
I'll do my best.
You sold me with that.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, well done.
No, I've got to say, if it was England, I'd be saying the same thing. So trying to make myself look a little bit less biased.
Yeah, no, I do like that. Well done, well done. By the way, that's a lovely cup of tea your mum brought over. So nice cup of. I expect Yorkshire tea.
Yeah.
Could be a bit of PG, can't beat a bit of Northern tea.
100%.
And here's another great little dive in there. Just sees that opening up, and the defender didn't commit to the touch. Thought he was still retreating from an offside position, and so couldn't touch him. But he run out of space to keep it going. 11-3. So I'm telling you now, the comeback's off.
Yeah, I think England are just turning the screw now. I recognise that we didn't want to concede that early try. Doing really well to put the US under pressure, and US just turning over the ball needlessly to England. And you know, we've said a few times now that the tries have just come from the defenders not being onside, and that's the reward you get from running at such pace. You know, you've got someone like Theo Edwards now just trucking it up the middle, And when you're able to run at pace and then move the ball, the defence are always looking for stuff, and they've just run doggies on both links, trying to get underneath.
Oh, and he's gone over the top. Is he going to be given? I mean, lost the bucket, lost the bucket in the process, but has the ref given it?
Super, yeah, he has. He loves it. Diving over the touching player. I think the touching player said, no, actually, I did not get it.
Look at this. Look, here he goes. And
yeah, no touch. Lovely score. Just gets it down before, just on the line. And
once again, you could sell anything to anybody. That was short and he dropped it.
Yeah, Max Pennicard benefiting from the rest there. But it's that pace, and what's really impressive about that transition is because they were able to save so many touches, they were able to run a sweeper on the near side link and then work it back and recycle the play to the far side link. And at that point, the US are just chasing shadows, and so impressive from England. But that's a lovely, lovely hole. Well, Matthew Mayle just gets across, or Mini Mayle as he's otherwise known as, gets across.
And just gets the touch in just in time. And so England 6 and at pace. And like I say, look how much ground they eat up before a touch.
Yeah. It's just the direction of it. It's so accurate. Everything's done with purpose. They're manipulating the ball with purpose. And they've been able to save touch all the way into the red zone. And now they're going to have one to strike right on the 7. Sweeper comes again. They pick up. Oh, lovely. Lovely shake and bake. The winger cuts in on the inside. Ant Wise. Brilliant line. And England just making good decisions
so very
again.
quickly explain here to anybody watching why the player across the line doesn't put it down himself there.
Yeah, so he can't put it down because he's half, and half can't score in touch to stop people just scooping at the base of the ruck and then diving at the line. It's to encourage that more flamboyant play rather than just it being a foot race to the line. You've actually got to work now for it to be a foot race to the line.
Right, and the half, to anybody watching, obviously we know what they are, you know, scrum halves, fly halves, etc. That's the guy that picks the ball up there.
Yeah.
Right, so you have one player that's putting it down. Yeah. And then the half picks it up, and that half can't cross the line with the ball in hand and score a try. He has to pass it out, and we've seen that twice now, and that was a good example of it there. And so it once again brings more people in, brings the skill level up, makes more people all-inclusive, and the pace there and the synchronisation of the substitute. I mean, the guy picked the ball up as a half, passed it, and he was on the bench and being replaced, right, before the move had finished.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, the effectiveness of a changeover, good transition is just so effective. It's so valuable because, you know, we saw in a couple of games yesterday that when that transition just didn't work and when they weren't able to change legs effectively, then the half who was picking that ball up and looking for the fresh players is stood in no man's land waiting for the support. And in that instance, the defensive line doesn't have to wait and can just fly up and go and touch that half. And if half gets touched, it's turnover ball immediately.
Yeah.
So that transition is such a staple of a good touch side. And all the England sides that we've seen on live stream so far, it's electric. The boys 18 set the tone yesterday, and we're going to see them again twice later on today. I'm looking forward to seeing if they can show us more, because that game yesterday was just spectacular.
And you mentioned today, you think there's another couple of gears in these 20s as well, as a little reverse pass comes in there. Didn't quite come off, but nice play there at the back.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to remember, the skill set of some of these lads is so impressive. They're able to throw the little disguised passes. You know, the footwork on some of them is just absolutely exceptional.
Considering the conditions, it is slippery underfoot here, and they don't seem to be showing any of those what that's causing them. Here they go again.
Oh, lovely.
Touch. Makes it up. Taking their time, holding off. Takes the touch. Brings the player on at pace, and he slides in.
That is all too easy. Matthew Mayle just able to get underneath. And they don't exaggerate this sweeper play. There's one signal you just saw there from Sam Misson telling him to go. Matthew Mayle just receives it, and the angle of the run does all of the work. He doesn't really need to put the hammer down, just dives low from 6 out. And that's the benefit of a low dive, is in this weather you can dive from far out, and then the defending player still has to hit the line and get back off. But now you're not 6 foot in the air, you're 6 inches off the ground, and that's a much harder thing to defend.
And once again, just to explain that to, you know, people watching in, like you say, the defender's got to get back on the line. And so that's the line of defence. And so it's not a case of him just coming out of that line, as we just see a wide ball, nice long wide to the wing. And I think the player's gone over and hurt his ankle, but I think the try is good.
Can even hear one of the England middles saying, yeah, that looked like a good score.
Yeah, and Will Hoffman is going to limp off for a bit of treatment and just be replaced straight away. But the referee is saying
touch made.
Saying that it wasn't given, and be careful of the ankles.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the danger you have when it gets sticky underfoot. Oh, England just guilty of overplaying there and surrendering the ball, and they'll now have to work really hard to get that ball back.
I mean, there's still 6 minutes to go, and now I'm feeling tired for them. And I know, okay, they have got a 11 try advantage here, so I think they're safe. But you've got to keep up the intensity. So, squad, we've got 6 players on the pitch, right? How many in a squad?
So, depends on what rule set you're playing to, but typically it's 12 to 14 in a squad. You want 3 pods that will rotate and work together for the vast majority of the day. And then 2 wingers on the pitch at all times, and you want to have a couple replacement wingers on the bench as well. You can take larger squads, and then people are just getting rested throughout the entirety of the day. But yeah, typically 12 to 14, although there's nothing stopping you from turning up to a tournament with 6. So if you wanted to really test your fitness and test your mettle, turn up to one of these with 6 and see how you get on.
Yeah, and I think then you would be tired. Oh, that looked good. I think he just came in, but maybe he was just touched there.
Yeah, I think the covering link has just managed to dive and make that touch. There's something that we've seen a lot of England defences, is they're just very stubborn in their work and almost take it personally when the tries go over. And
as you should. They've got the numbers. Oh, and into the gap, but did he bring it down? No, it's been given.
Yeah, really nice hole. Just hits the link wing hole. So inside the link, well, outside the link for England and inside of the wing. So they quickly take it there, and then he fixes the defender and pops the ball into space, and he's the grateful recipient going over.
Great play, Liam Gray. Gets his name on the score sheet.
Oh, that'll be given forward. England maybe just losing a little bit of their concentration. A couple very, very needless turnovers in succession now, and they conceded from one. They had the tap off and then gave away another penalty for the tap off, and USA having a little purple patch.
Here they go again. There's still 10 tries behind, but it just kind of like I was saying, maybe it was a bit early for them, that, you know, they are warming up. And come later in the day, there's a big wide one. And did he get in there?
No, I think that's a superb.
Tavian Trask with a long reach, but that was the sixth tackle, touch I should say. And England turn it over.
Oh, Matthew Mayle just ghosting around the outside, eating up the yards for England.
Playing with the baseball cap, playing with the bucket hat, it doesn't really matter. That's great with touch, no restrictions on the equipment.
No.
On the headwear anyway.
Oh, lovely hands.
This is no touch there. We just went about 25 yards.
Yeah. Just
through the hands, no touch. Like you say, just gives you the touches when you get into the final, well, as you say, 7. Yeah. Are we talking meters or yards, just to help our US audience?
Meters.
Meters, so that's about 10 yards.
7 meters, yeah, 10 yards.
Yeah.
32 long. Inside player is on. Pops it, just hesitates. Ball goes forward, but US never onside. England will get a repeat set of 6.
In the last 2.5 minutes.
England now going back to the 32 platform. They go for the long. And Sam Missing just goes through. No problems at all. England, like we saw the boys 18s do yesterday, changed their attacking structure in the second half. Begun to look for the 32 long, fast ball, and you put in someone with absolute wheels into that amount of space, and Sam Missing will take that all day long.
Yeah, he's not missing from there, is he?
USA now trying to end the half on a high. Get that score. 32 short. Look for the early release. They go for the link. Link can't reel it in. Ball goes to ground. And England get a very successful turnover and a better defensive set there.
That's kind of like, you know, you give that turnover to England rather than a, you know, sloppy American attack. I just thought it was really well played as a unit.
Yeah, and that's what you want. And you know, there will be an attacking-minded coach in that box and a defensive-minded coach in that box. And you know, it's those turnovers that you appreciate more because your team has worked hard for it.
Yeah.
And if you can do that to a USA side, you could do that to an Ireland side, and then you can start you picking off some of the big boys with your defensive pressure.
Yeah. Good strong run there. Again, Liam Gray.
Yeah, he's looked a bright spot for US.
He has. And he's going to be the recipient if they go left, no? Trying to build something, but it's a very, very tight area in there, and deliberate knock on. More of a slap forward.
Yeah, and yeah, there's no yellow card for that. It's just a repeat set of 6 in touch, which is something I'm grateful for because I've done that many a time.
Let's just catch the ball.
Yeah, it's easier said than done when you're too busy worrying about who's on your outside and inside of it, and you see the ball in your grasp and you're like, yep, you're going to floor, pal, I need a second.
And there is the hooter, the final whistle. Joe, you just talk about that. I'm going to see if I can get one of these USA lads.
Yeah, so it's really impressive from England for the opening game of the day. They looked too powerful, too direct. And ultimately just a really evenly balanced side. They've got those strike players, they've got the platformers, everyone can do a little bit. Some of the defensive plays were superb, and USA worked really hard for the scores and the success that they did, but ultimately it was just the ability of England that proved a little bit too much.
Well, I'm pleased to say that I'm joined here by OJ, the US coach. OJ, okay, didn't come out on the right side, but a good start.
Oh, maybe not a good start, but they got better in the second half.
Well, yeah, we thought you were a bit, obviously breakfast was early and tired and everything else, and you kind of woke up to the show, but you got going in the end. But, you know, a good turnout by you anyway in the end, good show. Yeah,
I mean, England's very good, you know, very well drilled. They know their policies, they play really hard defense, and we just couldn't match that today. So, you know, we'll get better and we'll try and come back in the next game.
Brilliant, excellent. Well, thank you very much, OJ, really appreciate it. That's great stuff. Good luck for the rest of the day.